بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد سيد الخلق أجمعين. اللهم ربنا بارك لنا وارحمنا واهدنا واهد بنا وعافنا يا ربنا وارحمنا وأنت الرحمن وأنت الرحيم. اللهم يا ربنا يا عزيز أعزنا. اللهم ربنا تقبل منا صيامنا وقيامنا وصلاتنا إن رمضان، وتقبل منا قرآننا في رمضان، واجعلنا يا ربنا من المعتوقين من نار جهنم في هذا رمضان يا عزيز يا كريم. Alhamdulillah, today we continue with our journey in the Quran and the surah, the different surah in the Quran, inshallah. Today the topic would be Surah Yusuf. Surah Yusuf. And this is the third surah that is named after a prophet. And like we said, what we said is, a couple of days before, we're talking about these three surah between Surah Yunus alayhi salam, Surah Hud alayhi salam, and this surah was revealed consecutively, approximately the same period of time where Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam was going through the most difficult, he's facing a lot of difficulty, where al-Mu'mineen Khadija passed away, radiallahu anha, and then of course his uncle passed away, and the harm and the attacks of Quraysh, Mecca, it got way out of control. It got to be so bad, the Muslims suffered a great deal. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this surah, it has 111 ayah. It's the tartib, as the sequence is number 12 in the Quran. And it is considered from the Ma'in as to not the long surah and not the short ones, is right in between, is the 100 ayah and more. It talks about, obviously, Yusuf alayhi salam specifically. And the whole surah was revealed in one shot, one story, one time. And it's quite lengthy, but it was revealed as one story. And it's one of the most beautiful stories that has ever been told about any human being. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honored this great prophet with a story of his own. And we know that Yusuf alayhi salam is the great-grandson of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted Ibrahim alayhi salam two sons. Ismail was the older one. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted him from Sarah, his wife, granted him Isaac, which is Ishaq. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Ibrahim alayhi salam the length or enough time on the face of this earth for him not to only see his son Ishaq, which is Isaac, also to go a little bit more, give him more time to witness and see his grandson Yaqub. But then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted Yaqub 12 sons altogether, and the number 11 is called Yusuf. The story of Yusuf is a beautiful story. It talks about every single problem any human being could possibly face, no matter how difficult, no matter how tough, acts of betrayal, acts of letdown, acts of disappointments. It happened to Yusuf alayhi salam. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows us the great character of Yusuf alayhi salam, where he withstood all the pressures and took all the interferences in his life, took all the betrayal, all the letdowns, all that. He took it in with nothing but patience, with sabr, and he never deviated away from the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with me. And the message is the whole surah about this one concept. Allahu ghalibun ala amrihi walakinna akthar an-nasi la ya'lamun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's the one who will enforce His thing. But a lot of people don't realize it, that the ways of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will prevail. The ways of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will come true. With the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will happen, like it or not, want to or not, no matter what people say, no matter what people do, no matter how great the obstacles are, no matter how the person get defeated, he get to be let down, but yet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is enforcing this concept. Never give up. Always know the ways of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will always prevail no matter what the situation is. The beginning of the surah, and this is what it starts. إنا أنزلناه قرآنا عربيا لعلكم تعقلون نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن. We are telling you the most beautiful stories about, from the wahi, from what we are revealed from you from this Quran. It starts with this sentence. It starts with إذ قال يوسف لأبيه يا أبت إني رأيت أحد عشر كوكبا والشمس والقمر رأيتهم لي ساجدين. Yusuf alayhi salam is addressing his father. He says, "Oh my father, I'm seeing altogether 11 stars, and I've seen the sun and the moon are prostrated, making sujood for me." Immediately, Yaqub alayhi salam, the father, he immediately told him, "Do not tell the story, do not tell this dream that you're seeing to your brothers. They might conspire, they might say something or do something that might cause you some harm." We learned so much from this surah. You know, one of the things that we learn from it is that sometimes even your own brothers, from your own flesh, from your own blood, from your own father, from sometimes from your own mother or different mother, there is shaitan plays with their minds. Shaitan plays with them and they conspire against each other. Is it a bad thing? Absolutely, it's a bad thing. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with His will, finds a way to bring them back to, Islam, to Iman, to remove this harm and the ill feelings from within their hearts. Yaqub alayhi salam had 12 sons altogether, and in his heart knew that this young nation, which is going to be many, many children, grandchildren, a huge nation of Beni Israel, the Israelites that would be born from these 12, they're going to need a leader. And this leader has to be a prophet who is guided by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to show them the way. And he was looking at one of those 12 to be the one, but he was looking the most, and he had his best hopes with Yusuf alayhi salam. The other 10, the previous 10, which is from another mother, other than the last two, which is Yusuf and Benjamin, the 10, they were older, they were stronger, they were more like, they constituted some kind of alliances amongst each other, and they felt the jealousy from number 11, which is Yusuf alayhi salam, because Allah, their father gave them a little bit more attention than them. So when these ill feelings built in their hearts, they got together, they said, "Let's go ahead and kill Yusuf." The older one said, "Let's not kill him." And he's like kind of has rahmah in his heart. He says, "Let's not kill this guy. Let's go ahead and throw him in the well of water. Somebody will pick him up." And we did not kill him. We did not step up to that kind of crime. Let's throw him in the water. So they went to their father. They said, "Oh, Father, can you send him with us? So he will play when we are hunting, we're doing different things." Yaqub alayhi salam is the good father. He was so afraid for his son because of the ambitions he had for him, or he thought of him. He told them, he says, "I'm afraid that if you take him, a wolf might come in and eat him because he's so young and he's barely 7 or 8 years old, about that age. He's very young, very small. He cannot fend for himself." They told him, said, "No, you have to trust us. And if this wolf will come in and eat him, we are really losers if we do that, and you know that we're not." So they made their decision. They took Yusuf alayhi salam, and when they got to a well of water in the middle of the desert, they stripped his shirt off and they slaughtered the sheep. They put some of the blood of the sheep on the shirt, and they threw Yusuf alayhi salam inside a well of water with not even a shirt on his back. And they went back to their father. They said, they're crying, they're pretending to cry, they're pretending to see a disaster. They said that, a wolf came in and ate him, and here's the proof of a shirt with blood on it, right? Yusuf alayhi salam never gave up. He was inside the well alone with nobody there, and his brothers abandoned him. They actually conspired against him. He never gave up. He got nothing but hope in his heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a caravan. One of them threw a bucket of water to get some water from the well. When he pulled it up, he found the bucket of water with a boy hanging onto it. And he got all, happy. He thought, "Oh, great, we got something for us to sell, a slave for us to sell." Sure enough, they were heading towards Egypt. And when they got to Egypt, they sold him to Aziz, somebody in charge of the great deputy of the king in his own time, and he was in charge of the finances in Egypt. So this man, the Aziz, buys him and he brings him home to his young wife, And he told us, says, let's adopt him, let's make a son out of him, or maybe we can benefit from him. And subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with his will, he says, وَكَذَلِكَ مَكَّنَّا لِيُوسُفَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. He gave him tamkeen. He gave him the ability for him to be safe in the place that he was at, which is he took him out of the well and he put him in a safe home. When Yusuf alayhi salam got to be older, he showed the strength and he was a young man, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him half of the beauty of the hadith Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He was a beautiful, good looking, very handsome person. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave Yusuf alayhi salam half the beauty any person could possibly gain. And subhanAllah, brothers, when you are hit and you get something like this, it's not always a blessing. It comes with a price. The wife of the Aziz fell in love with him. She tried to seduce him, and she bought him one day. She's trying to chase him, tried to do different things with him. And of course, he would never do that because he is a true loyal to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, true loyal to the person who adopted him and put him in his home. And then one day she closed the doors and she went after him. She beautified herself. She went after him, and he ran away from her. He said, "Ma'ad Allah, innahu Rabbi ahsan mathwaya." He says, "How can you do this? How can I do this? He's he's the one who adopted me. I'm in his home. How can I do that?" And he tried to run away from him. She grabbed his shirt. She tore up his shirt from the backside. Right when he got to the door opens up, and her husband and a couple of other people walk inside the room. Immediately, she was very witty and she's very devious. She said, "Oh, what is the punishment of somebody who went after your wife?" She's speaking to the Aziz, to her husband. The Aziz looked up. He's shocked. He says, "What's going on?" And they looked at each other and say, "What's happening?" She's accusing him of him going after her. And the truth is the absolute opposite. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a young infant at the time. He was with them and he spoke. And he said to the Aziz, he says, "Look at that shirt. If the shirt is torn in the front, it means she is telling the truth and he's a liar. And if it's torn from the back, it means he's running away from her. And he's telling the truth and she's the one who's lying." So Al-Aziz got the idea and he looked up. They found the shirt torn from the backside. So whatever Yusuf alayhi salam was saying was correct. Eventually, they tried to hide all the issues, all the things, and they wanted to basically wrap everything up and not to make a big deal out of it. They said, "You know what? To the wife, walk away from it. Don't do this. Let's not make fadiha. Let's not expose things. What's going on inside the castle." So the wife of the Aziz, she never gave up, and the women are talking about her trying to seduce that beautiful, slave. So she gathers a whole bunch of these women. She gave each one of them a plate with some fruit on it and a knife. And while they're peeling this fruit, she ordered Yusuf alayhi salam to walk inside the room. When he did, they actually were so focused on his beauty and his looks, they started to cut their own fingers. They don't even realize that the blood is running through from the knives they're holding in their hands inside their own hands. And she said, "That is the one who you blame me, and that is the one who I want to go after. I want." Eventually, the Aziz put him in jail. When he got stuck in jail, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed us the true character of Yusuf alayhi salam. When he grew strong with more iman, he never gave up. He never let go. He was straightforward. He never did a bad thing. He always believed in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And no matter how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing him to perfect his character, to give him the qualities of the leadership of Bani Israel, he took it, he stood it. He never faced it with anger. He never faced it with frustration. It was the opposite. Two people were locked up with him in jail. These two people, they were accused of trying an attempt to assassinate the king. One of them is the baker, and the other one is the drink maker. So while they're sitting there with him, they found out that they understood how pious this person is. He's spending all this time with dua, with supplication, with the recitation. They told him, said, "Last night we had a dream. The dream is," one of them says, "I am seeing myself with a bird on top of my head, eating off of the top of my head with a loaf of bread on top of my head." And the other one says, "I'm seeing myself, I'm giving drink to my king." So he told him, after he exposed himself, he told him exactly who he was as being a son of Yaqub, and he is a worshipper of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's a true monotheist, and he made da'wah to them to enter and to become like him. He told them that one of them was going to go back to the king and will be freed, and the other one will be killed next day. And sure enough, his dreams, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the ability to interpret these dreams, became always true. What happened is he told the one that is going to set free, mention me in front of your king. And years went by, some more, where the king sees a dream, 7 cows, 7 skinny cows eating 7 thick cows or fat cows, and he keeps on seeing the dream on and on and on. So eventually, this son of the drink, the one who serves the drink for the king, he remembered this great man who can interpret the dream. He brings Yusuf alayhi salam. He interprets the dream to the king, and the king was so happy and so pleased. The interpretation of the king, the king dream was that would be 7 years of great years. They will be eaten away by 7 years filled with drought, filled with lack of food, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant the people 1 good year. And he not only interpreted the dream, but he told them what to do. He says, in these 7 years, the good years that you're going to have, save all your food and save your wheat with a peel on it, and then you get to use it the next 7 years, and then you will be able to survive these 7 years with no death. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make ghawth, will give you the water, will give you the products afterwards. The king gave Yusuf alayhi salam the status of Aziz. He gave him the control of the wealth of Egypt. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with his rahmah, transferred Yusuf alayhi salam from some young boy, shirtless boy from the bottom of the well, all the way to be the Aziz in Egypt, with his will, with no help of anybody, no matter what the conspiracies were against him, no matter what that woman did to him, no matter how she tested him, he always stayed steadfast. He was able to persevere all these issues with his life, with the conspiracy of his brothers, with the difficulties, being enslaved, being sold, and being enslaved by somebody, by being seduced by somebody, and on, by imprisoned by the king. He eventually came to be the Aziz in Egypt. The rest of the story, we know that the brothers came into trade, and eventually he was able to bring his own brother with him, and then afterwards he was able to bring his own father, Yaqub alayhi salam, all the way to Egypt. And everybody, when they got to Egypt, they all prostrated to Yusuf alayhi salam. And Yusuf alayhi salam looks up to his father when he's sitting there in front of him. He says, that is the interpretation of the dream I saw when I was young, when I told you that dream. The 11 stars, which is there are my 11 brothers, they're prostrating for me out of respect. And the Shams wal Qamar, the moon and the sun, are you and my mother, are prostrating from respect. And he took the leadership of his own people. This is an unbelievable story. It's a true miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what we think. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows us his miracles everywhere. He saves people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had Yusuf around us every single day. The story of Yusuf. We think of ourselves sometimes run into difficulties, harsh, difficult trials. Sometimes we lose jobs. Sometimes we lose close people next to us. Sometimes we get transgressed upon. Sometimes we get robbed. Sometimes we get cheated. Sometimes we get conspired against. Sometimes things are taken away from us. We get to be thrown with nothing. But remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ghalibun ala amri. The ways of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will prevail no matter what people do, no matter what things will happen to you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there. If you trust in Him, if you keep on going with the straight path, if for His sake, if you don't deviate, if you don't do anything wrong, if you don't wrong yourself, if you don't wrong others, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there for you, would do you good, would do the best for you. And Allah, the ways of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prevail no matter who, no matter what. This is the story of sabr, the sabr of everybody. The sabr of Yaqub, how he lost his son, but he never lost hope. He was always making dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was going all the way towards the end, having this hope in his heart that his ummah, his nation, will get united with all the issues, with all the things that he was worried about, the bad behavior of his sons, the 10. And he knew in his heart that Yusuf alayhi salam was alive. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not give him the straight up news. He was crying, profusely crying, until his eyes became white and he became blind. And then all the way until the end, where Yusuf alayhi salam told everybody, told his his brothers who he was. He took the shirt off his back. He says, "Take the shirt and throw it upon the face of my father, and his eyesight will come back to him." He never gave up. Yaqub alayhi salam never gave up, not even 1 second. Never give up. Look at the sabr of Yusuf alayhi salam, of everything that he went through. Sabr. Look at the miracles in this surah. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not only test Yusuf alayhi salam and perfected his personality. When the historians are talking about when he was 40 years old, and this is the prime age for somebody to receive the message. That was when the brothers of Yusuf and Yaqub alayhi salam came in. In this 40 years, when he was there, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala perfected his personality, his character. He made him fit to lead the ummah, just like what he did with Musa alayhi salam, just like what he did with Ibrahim alayhi salam, and on and on and on. To perfect their personalities, it takes hard work, it takes perseverance, it takes sabr, patience, it takes a lot of hikmah and wisdom for them to deal with issues, for them to get there, and that does not come except with time. And that is the perfection of Yusuf alayhi salam. It had a great consequences to the whole ummah of Bani Israel. Bani Israel were living in Palestine at the time, and they moved in their entirety all the way to Egypt because of this incident. Eventually, they lived there until Pharaoh came in and he started to abuse them, and that's a different story at a different time. So, inshallah, we